Psychological thrillers, gory slashers, zombie apocalypses, clowns. We've got it all in this comprehensive list of the 20 best horror movies you can stream right now on Netflix. When a father and son coroner team conduct the autopsy on an unidentified woman, it seems like a sad case at first, until they discover unexplainable things inside her body. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is mostly shot in one room, which is a tough trick to pull off, but this film does it with suspenseful grace and a riveting plot. Ravenous is a French-Canadian zombie thriller with an intriguing twist. The zombies react to sound. The survivors must stay as quiet as possible to live, leading to a terrifying and tense atmosphere. While it's a somewhat obscure, low-budget indie, it's surely the most interesting zombie movie of 2017. If you're in the mood for an 80s horror classic, it doesn't get better than Poltergeist. It's the story of a family fighting to rescue their daughter who vanishes after making contact with an evil being in their house. Though the special effects have aged, Poltergeist's heartfelt characters and spiritual leanings still make it a standout of the genre 38 years later. Train to Busan is an expertly executed zombie flick that takes place on a moving train. Beloved South Korean star Gong Yoo shines as a workaholic dad hoping to get into his daughter's good graces again. That's when the outbreak strikes. Most zombie movies have tons of action but little heart. Train to Busan has plenty of both.
Hi! Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you.
If you're a fan of found footage horror, Creep does it exceptionally well. Cash-desperate man answers a vague Craigslist ad, and the results will remind you that it's always good to be cautious when interacting with people from the internet. If you're looking for an ending that gives you a sense of hope, you won't find it in It Comes at Night. That said, this deliciously dark film tells the story of two families struggling to stay alive after an outbreak and what happens when they choose to join forces. It's grim, beautiful, and fascinating. When a deaf writer decides to live alone in the woods, you can bet something terrifying is going to happen. Hush is a psychological horror flick that made its debut at South by Southwest in 2016 and garnered accolades from critics and horror fans alike.
She will be good to him, won't you, Miss Evans?
Yes, I'll treat him like my own.
While The Boy is far from a perfect film, it nails so many moments of sheer revulsion that it's worth the watch. When a woman accepts a nanny job at a secluded mansion, she's horrified to discover that the child is actually a doll, a haunting replacement for the couple's real son who died in a house fire. Of course, things get supernatural pretty quickly. The Girl with All the Gifts is a British zombie apocalypse film that approaches the genre from a very interesting angle. Hybrid children who are part zombie, part human, are imprisoned in a facility in hopes of creating a vaccine. A young girl who is scheduled to be dissected manages to escape, and the Hungries don't perceive her as a threat. It's well acted and thought-provoking. Gerald's Game is a Stephen King adaptation about a married couple who go to a secluded cabin to try to spice up their sex life. This comes to an abrupt halt when the husband has a heart attack while his wife is still handcuffed to the bed. But the true terror begins within her mind as she slowly ticks further from any hope of rescue. This film has some challenging content to watch, but it's an outstanding reminder of the horror we carry inside us all. Don't watch the trailer for The Invitation. Just go to Netflix and watch the film. The plot follows a man as he and his girlfriend go to dinner at his ex-wife's house for the first time since they split due to a sudden tragedy. This exercise in slow building dread leaves you constantly questioning the motives of everyone involved, even up to the final jarring frame. There's nothing else quite like this movie on Netflix, so take our word for it and go in blind. The Witch transports you into the lives of a family of pilgrims whose infant son is stolen by what they perceive to be a witch. You can really feel the chill of this film, from the stark setting to the supernatural themes that inhabit it. Either way, it's one hell of a debut from director Robert Eggers, who is more well known for his second film, The Lighthouse. In 1980s Tehran, during the War of the Cities, a mother and daughter stay huddled up in their apartment as their city is bombarded by missiles. The historical horror and PTSD-inducing sight of rockets cracking roofs should be terrifying enough, but then an evil spirit takes interest in the little girl, and things go from bad to worse in Under the Shadow. Verónica made a splash on Netflix back in March for being horrifying, and because it's reportedly based on a true story. The title character holds a seance with her friends in the basement of their Catholic school, while everyone else is outside watching a solar eclipse. But instead of reaching her deceased father, this confluence ends up channeling a demon. It's a stylized haunt with emotional weight and solid performances. While Evil Dead 2 is arguably the best film in the series, it's well worth your time to go back and see how it all started. When 5 friends go to a remote cabin and stumble upon an old Sumerian book, naturally, all hell breaks loose. In The Ritual, 4 friends on a hiking holiday find that their trip is not going as planned. When one hurts his foot, they veer off the main trail and through the woods. This film plays out like a mythological riff on deliverance. Shudder is a 2004 Thai horror film that was a massive box office hit in its home country. When a photographer and his girlfriend are involved in a hit and run, they start to see images of the woman they killed in his photographs. But the story turns into something more than the average haunting. The final scene, in particular, is especially chilling. If you've ever feared the creepy denizens of the circus, or you're just an old-fashioned gorehound, Terrifier is the slasher of your dreams. It's packed with guts, brutal practical effects, and gallons of blood. Occasional doses of dark humor lighten the mood, but if you get squeamish, pack a barf bag. Murder Party is a gore-soaked horror comedy that still finds plenty of chills. A lonely guy named Chris gets invited to a Halloween party, only to find himself the captive of a group of art students hoping to make a snuff film.
I didn't sign on for second-degree assault party.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil doesn't take itself as seriously as the other films on this list, but it's excellent in a Shaun of the Dead kind of way. Tucker and Dale are a couple of hillbillies looking forward to a woodsy vacation when they bump into a gaggle of college kids who mistakenly believe them to be murderers. Its clever take on slapstick comedy scratches the itch for both gore and laughs just right.
This vacation sucks.
Those are our picks for the best horror on Netflix right now, but if you're streaming another terrifying tale, be sure to recommend it in the comments below so other fans can join in. And if this guide was helpful to you, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the Daily Dot so you'll never miss a future episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.